inviting me to be a part of this incredible day. Neurodiversity Pride Day matters because it's when we get to celebrate the brains that make this world more interesting, more innovative, and honestly more fun. I'm Samantha Stein, though you might know me as Yo Samdy Sam on YouTube. I'm a late diagnosed ADHDer, autism and ADHD, and I was diagnosed in my early 30s. I'm also a published author, and I work as a mentor and strategist specifically for neurodivergent business owners. But here's the thing, I spent the first 30-something years of my life trying to fix myself. I was constantly asking myself, why can't I just focus like everyone else? Why do I get so overwhelmed all the time? Why does small talk feel like performing? What's wrong with me? How do I improve these things? Getting diagnosed was the turning point that changed everything for me. Suddenly, I wasn't broken. I was just running the wrong operating system for my hardware. And that mental shift, that reframe, it unlocked everything that came after and ultimately changed my life. Today, I want to give you that same permission I gave myself. Permission to stop trying to be somebody else, and permission to stop trying to fix yourself. How many of you have been told to just focus or try harder or be more organized? How many of you have internalized that message of brokenness and spent years thinking there was something fundamentally wrong with you that just needed to be fixed? Here's what I wish someone had told me decades ago. The question isn't, how do I fix my brain? The question is, how do I work with my brain? The neurotypical majority decided what normal is because there's more of them. Their abilities make it a standard that everyone should be able to sit still and concentrate for 8 hours a day, make small talk at events, and remember where they put their keys. But the normal brain is a myth. It's the statistical average, but it's not a gold standard. And I don't know about you, but I spent so many years trying to fit in this imaginary box that I forgot something crucial. Different doesn't mean deficient. I spent years in this exhausting cycle of self-improvement, reading productivity books, trying new planners, downloading focus apps, beating myself up when, of course, none of it actually stuck. It was like trying to force a Mac to run Windows software. Technically possible, but why would you torture yourself like that when you could just use the program your system was designed for? The whole fixing framework needs to go because it assumes you're broken to begin with. And that assumption, that is where we need to start pushing back. So here's your first piece of radical permission. You're allowed to be bad at things. I know it's a revolutionary concept, right? But think about it. Everyone has things they're terrible at. The difference is that neurotypical people's struggles tend to be less visible or more socially acceptable. Like, no one is going to give you a disorder diagnosis because, for example, you can't sing very well. That would be ridiculous by anyone's standards. But our struggles, they are right there in the open. Executive function issues, sensory sensitivities, social communication differences. These are the things that society notices and wants to fix. But what if we flipped the script? What if, instead of focusing on what's wrong with us, we got curious about what's actually right? Let me give you an example from my own life. I'm really bad at fitting into groups, even groups of neurodivergent people, even when I desperately want to belong. I can't seem to assimilate myself no matter how hard I try. There's always this invisible barrier, the sense that everyone got a handbook I never received. But here's the flip side. Because I never quite fit in, I never stop seeing. I'm always a little bit the outsider looking in, which means that I notice things that people on the inside miss. I can spot problems in systems. I can call out dysfunction that everyone else has gotten used to. Ask the questions that nobody wants to ask, but everybody needs answered. My inability to blend in makes me good at speaking up when something isn't working, because I was never comfortable enough in a group to just go along with it in the first place. So let's try something. Think of one thing you've been told is a problem, something about the way your brain works that you've been trying to fix. Now tell me this, has that same trait ever served you well? Maybe your distractibility means you notice details others miss. Maybe your hyperfocus lets you solve problems others give up on. Maybe your sensitivity gives you incredible empathy and emotional intelligence. Maybe your rigid thinking means you have strong principles and incredible consistency. There's a relief in admitting what you can't do. It's life-changing because it frees up all that energy you've been spending on pretending and lets you pour it into the things you're actually brilliant at. Which brings me to the next piece of permission for today. You don't have to do everything alone. We live in this culture of somewhat rugged individualism when we're asking for help is somehow seen as weakness. But humans are literally pack animals. We're designed to work together, to have different people be good at different things. The magic happens when you stop thinking, I need to get better at this, and start thinking, I need support for this. Let me give you some practical examples. If you struggle with focus, maybe you need body doubling, working alongside someone else, even virtually. If executive functioning is your nemesis, maybe you need accountability systems or someone to help you break big projects into smaller steps. If you're sensory sensitive, maybe you need noise-canceling headphones, fidget tools, or simply permission to step away when you're overwhelmed. And here's the beautiful thing. When you get clear about what you need and ask for it directly, usually people want to help. Most of the time, they just don't know how. Instead of suffering in silence, try something like, hey, I work better when I have some background noise. Is it okay if I use headphones right now? Or I have ADHD and focus better when my hands are busy. So I'm actually listening to you more when I use my fidget cube. And here's what happens when you're direct like this. You're not only just hopefully getting the support that you need, you're normalizing the act of asking for help. You're showing everyone around you that it's okay to have needs, that it's safe to speak up, and that support isn't something to be ashamed of. You become the person who gives others permission to ask for what they need too. Suddenly your colleague feels comfortable saying they need to take calls standing up, or your friend admits they process information better when they can doodle during conversations. Your courage to be authentic creates ripples that makes everyone's life a little easier. And by taking support, you are able to offer your own unique gifts in return. Because trust me, you have gifts that others need, even if you can't see them yet. So here's exactly what I want to walk away with today. What if your brain isn't the problem? What if the world actually needs exactly what you bring to it? Your weird might be someone else's breakthrough. Your different perspective might be the solution to a problem everyone else has been staring at for years. Your unique way of processing information might be exactly what your workplace, your family, your community has been missing. I think about all the innovations that came from neurodivergent minds, from scientific discoveries to artistic masterpieces to technological breakthroughs. These didn't happen despite neurodivergence, they happened because of it. But your value doesn't just come through grand breakthroughs and achievements. It comes through the everyday ways you see the world differently. It comes through the questions you ask that make people stop and think. It comes through the problems you notice that everyone else has learned to ignore. It comes through the deep conversations you have because small talk feels impossible. Through the creative solutions you find because the normal way never worked for you. Through the authenticity you bring because masking is exhausting. And you've learned to just be yourself. Your value comes from being exactly who you are. not from what you can produce or accomplish. So here's my final challenge for you. Stop apologizing for taking up space. Stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. Start sharing what makes you different, because that's exactly what the world needs more of. Remember that operating system metaphor I used in the beginning. You're not running faulty software that needs to be fixed. If anything, I think neurodivergent people are a little more like Linux. We're complicated, harder to understand at first, definitely not plug and play like Windows or as user-friendly as Mac. But here's the thing about Linux. It's incredibly powerful. It runs most of the world's servers, powers the majority of smartphones, and is behind some of the most innovative technology we use every day. It's not broken because it's different. It's actually more capable in many ways. It just requires people to learn a different language, to approach it differently, to appreciate what it can do rather than complaining about what it can't. That's us. We're not broken versions of neurotypical people. We run a different operating system entirely, one that might be harder to understand at first, but incredibly powerful, and you learn how to work with us instead of against us. Your brain doesn't need fixing. Your brain needs celebrating. You don't need to become someone else. You need to become more fully yourself. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are not a problem to be solved. You're exactly who you're meant to be, and the world is better because you're in it. So go forth and be unapologetically yourself. Take up space. Ask for what you need. Share your gifts. And remember, your brain isn't broken. It's just running specific software that the world is still learning to appreciate. Thank you so much for letting me share this message with you today. Happy Neurodiversity Pride Day, everyone. Now let's go celebrate those beautiful, brilliant brains of ours.